Hello and welcome to the Coming Conflict, March 1st, 2023. My name is Tom, of course, and we're going to be talking about all these conspiracy theories that have suddenly been proven right. At least that's how it's being framed in the media. But you and I know we've never been wrong from the start, so let's figure out what's really going on. So, as I'm sure you've all have heard by now, that the DOE has come out and said, oh my God, COVID came from a lab in China, even though people like us, normal people with, an ability to problem solve have figured that out a long time ago. Okay. Now all of a sudden it's being reported by the DOE, the FBI, which I'll get to a little bit later. That just came out today. And it's not on accident. Let's just put it that way. It's not on accident. This has nothing to do with COVID. Trust me, this is not something that the Biden regime wants to. This isn't a card they want to play because it implicates too many people like Fauci, etc., and Peter Daszak and EcoHealth Alliance. We all know the whole story. I'm not even going to get into the COVID narrative. But what I am going to talk about is why it's coming up right now. So, I believe on the 25th, China released, the CCP released this bullshit peace proposal for calming the Ukraine war and averting World War III. Biden comes out. Biden doubts there's any merit in China's Russia-Ukraine plan. Okay, that's fine. But Kazakhstan says China's peace plan for Ukraine worthy of support. We have Orban backing the peace plan. And we have Lukashenko, the president, or what do they call it? Prime minister. I don't know how it works over there, but the president of Belarus meeting with Xi saying Belarus backs China's Ukraine peace plan. And then this was 4 days ago, Ukraine war. Zelensky wants Xi Jinping meeting following China's peace plan. Oh, wait a second. So now this little degenerate gnome Zelensky, this authoritarian asshat, is going to now want to crawl into bed with the CCP? Is that what's happening? It seems to be. And we have these neocons here in America and the rest of the Western world, these neocons that want this war to keep going. And this isn't good for them. So, what happens next? Well, then they start accusing China of supplying Russia with weapons, which might be possible. It might be possible, but I don't think Russia has a problem producing weapons. I really don't think they do, because they've been building up for this war for 8 years now. I don't think they have any issue producing the munitions. They have a stockpile probably bigger than any other country, because again, this didn't just start last year. This started in 2014 with the Maidan coup. People need to remember that. So Russia's been planning for this. That's the same reason that the sanctions didn't take effect the way that the United States and the Western countries thought they would. Because Russia was prepared. They got into bed with China, yada, yada. So then we get these, I think, baseless claims. U.S. says China will face real costs if it provides lethal aid to Russia in the Ukraine war. Then, all of a sudden, we get classified Energy Department report on COVID's origins rekindles ongoing debate. So what is this? In my opinion, this is a signal to China. Hey, we're going to get the whole Western world to turn on you and blame you for COVID, even though it is China's fault. Let me be very clear on this, because I've seen other commentators talking about this, and now all of a sudden they're like, well, we don't really know if it came from a Chinese lab, because they've gotten so on side with Russia that now they think that China is somehow, the CCP is somehow a benevolent government. It's absolutely insane. China made this virus. They either intentionally or by accident released it. Then they intentionally allowed it to spread. Remember, they shut down domestic travel into and out of Wuhan. Okay, but they allowed people from Wuhan to fly all over the world, intentionally infecting everyone. Now, to the degree of which this virus was deadly, we're never going to actually know the real numbers. But They did this, the Western media covered for them, and now all of a sudden the Western media is turning on them. Why? Because it seems to me the Western media, the Western institutions find war to be more profitable than being in bed with the CCP to America's detriment. Because that's what's been happening up until now. We've had no clear answers on COVID after Trump left. We've had no clear answers on COVID. We've had no repercussions for the CCP. We've had none of that simply because our establishment, this regime, the institutions in the West are beholden, captured, bought out, whatever you want to call it, by the CCP. So now if this card's being dropped, if this boot's coming down, that now, oh my God, we in our infinite wisdom, we have finally discovered that the CCP, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, is where COVID came from. You have to be an idiot to think that this is just happenstance, that there's no coincidence to this. After the United States is claiming that China is supplying Russia with weapons, after President T-shirt over in Ukraine is trying to get into bed with the CCP over this little peace proposal bullcrap that the Chinese instituted, after Kazakhstan and Belarus are backing this peace proposal, after Orban in Hungary is backing this peace proposal, then all of a sudden now we're going to say, oh, wait, we finally figured out where COVID came from. It came from, like the meme is, it came from the virus factory in the town that the virus was found in. And then today, FBI Director Wray acknowledges Bureau assessment that COVID-19 likely resulted from lab incident. So the West, the United States, is doubling down on this narrative. And this is a weird thing to report on because, of course, it's a narrative, but it's a true narrative. And I'm assuming, my guess is that the West didn't want to have to pull this card out again because this regime, this political class, the people that are in power and influence right now are so bought out and in servitude to the CCP that I'm sure this is the last thing they wanted to do. They must have made the wager that war with Russia is far more profitable, and then they can pivot to war with China. Me personally, I'm America first. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about China outside of don't steal our stuff, don't screw with us, don't send fentanyl over here, and just leave us the frig alone. And we'll leave you the frig alone. That's my take on things. But these neocons that are in Washington right now, they just want to beat these war drums, and it's far more profitable, I guess, to beat the war drums than to stay subservient to the CCP. And just to remind everybody that this isn't a joke, this isn't just newspaper headlines, and this isn't just narrative control. These are situations that have real world implications. The same way that Russiagate did to destroy a relationship with Russia. These things that we're doing now are going to push us down a path that we might not be able to recover from, and we're going to be in World War III. U.S. Doomsday plane flies to Europe. The Doomsday plane, of course, is the mobile command center that the president can launch nukes from in some sort of cataclysmic event. So things are real, my friends. Things are real. And you have to start questioning everything. Everything you hear. Why are they talking about this now? Especially when it's this, oh my God, conspiracy theory proven. Why is it finally proven? And why were they calling it a conspiracy theory to begin with? Use that as a frame of reference for everything. At least that's what I do. Because when you start doing that, you realize nothing is coincidental. Everything is on purpose. If you think that MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, any of these people are free and independent media, that's something you got to get over too before you can really start to look at things objectively. Just be on high alert at all times. We are living in dangerous times. We are living under the rule of despots and criminals who would like nothing more than for us to be serfs, enslaved, and subjugate to their tyrannical rule. And I don't think that things are going to get better until we all realize that that's what's happening. But anyway, if you like what you saw, please subscribe. please share this video. Leave me a rumble or a like if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, click in the description. Follow me on Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, click in the description and follow me on YouTube. Every Wednesday night, I do a show with Mike from Rethinking the Dollar and Andre, the Broke Capitalist, over at Rethinking the Dollar's channel. That link will also be in the description, generally every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And lastly, in the information war, knowledge is power, but awareness is victory. And I will leave you with this clip from President T-Shirt and what he thinks of your sons and daughters.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's nature that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
Well, that's what he thinks of you and your family. Have a good night, guys. God bless.